Yeah, it does.
There.
I'm Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power, and coming up next on WAYO LP Rochester, we are going to be talking about a memo to HR. We're going to be talking about some changes. We've got some Anne Frank news, maybe, and a couple weird little stories that I want to tell Ross about because, hey, that's what happens in my life.
I can't wait to hear how Anne Frank's doing.
You stop.
Hello, Heather. Hello. Can you hear me?
Ross, yes, I can hear you. Why wouldn't I be able to? And why are you calling me? You just went to the bathroom. Wait, are you calling me while you make tinkle?
Tinkle? No. And since when do you say make tinkle?
It's just something I'm workshopping.
Gotcha. Don't know if I love it.
Thanks for the feedback. Wait, then, does that mean you're making doo-doo?
Doo-doo, Heather. You know I never make doo-doo outside of my own home. And then only when Mike's asleep.
Never.
Well, okay. There was that one time, maybe 15 years ago, when a friend took me to Red Lobster and I had to run into a Barnes & Noble because I couldn't make it home in time. And then I was so embarrassed thinking I could never show my face or my rear end in that particular bookstore chain again until I learned that literally everybody poops at Barnes & Noble. Who knew? Everybody knew but me. And also I learned that it's better to support local independent bookstores. That is a true story.
Okay. So, now that's all out of the way. Where are you?
Oh, I'm in 2022.
Whatever, Ross. It's January 2021. Unless this is a joke about how you got a new phone and I never buy new text. Well, if I'm not embarrassed walking around with a phone with an antenna that I have to pull out, I'm certainly not going to be embarrassed by the suggestion that my phone is a year out of date.
No, I'm serious. I'm literally calling from 2022. The Heather from the present, well, my present, is in the bathroom, probably making tinkle. I figured out how to call the past, which is I have to tell you, I'm very serious here. It's so much easier than traveling to the past and has a much smaller carbon footprint.
Oh, good for you. I suppose that things like that must be very important in the future.
Nah, it's about the same. Nobody cares. Still, they got rid of plastic bags at stores, though. You know.
Oh, yeah, we got that in the past, too. Oh, but I just realized COVID must have been over for you for a while. Vaccines for everyone, right? I can't wait.
Well,
what?
I mean, that's pretty much the same, too.
Wait, no vaccines?
No, there are vaccines, but I don't like nobody wants to take them, you know?
What?
Yeah, because of 5G or freedom or something. I don't know. So now there are all these variants, you know?
Variants? How many? Like 2?
Oh, no, I think like 10, I think.
Wow. Okay. Well, at least the open and virulent racism of American society's cooled down, right? The spirits of MLK, Malcolm X, John Lewis, Bayard Rustin, Marsha P. Johnson, and Amanda Gorman have certainly won out over the haters.
Who? I don't know who any of those people are.
Those are some incredibly well-known and impactful Black leaders, Ross.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I'm vaguely aware that there used to be Black leaders, but they've all been removed from schools and erased from history. So, you know.
Sheesh. So, okay, now that I know, I can work to change it. That's why you're calling, right? So that I can change the future?
Well, yeah.
Great. How can I save the world from COVID and hateful racism?
Oh, so I mean, wash your hands, I guess. Sing a happy birthday song while you do it. Oh, and if you've got any books by or about those Black people you mentioned, definitely hold on to them.
Okay, none of that sounds at all empowering.
Yeah, so the reason I actually called is that I just locked my keys in my car, and I was hoping that maybe you could just like make a note to yourself to remind me not to do that in like a year, you know, for you.
You locked your keys in your car.
Yep, like, I don't know, like 15 minutes ago. It's really annoying.
You called me from the future for that.
Okay, it honestly never occurred to me that you were going to ask me for like tips on saving the world. I'm from a year in the future. I don't know that much more than 2021 Ross did. It's all environmental collapse, racism, COVID, and the entirely preventable in retrospect nuclear meltdown that destroyed the entire west coast of the country in October of 2021. If only someone had warned them, am I right? And my keys. And that's pretty much it for the future. So,
Wait, what was that last one?
oh, my keys?
I got to make a phone call.
Okay, just write down the keys thing. I'm serious. It's very annoying.
Just break the window. What are you using the car for anyway? Where are you going? What do you think you're doing? Please, you drive?
I'm making shrugging motions for anyone who's listening to this, which is literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, everybody, I'm Russ Johnson, your favorite co-host.
And I am Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power. Welcome back to The Sound of Tomorrow on WAYO LP Rochester.
That is the place. I just was almost late to the show today. Shall I tell you why?
Yes, I want to know.
Okay, so as we're recording this, because again with COVID, I don't like to break that fourth wall or whatever that's called, the fourth dimensional wall of time.
Yes.
But it's COVID, so everybody knows.
Yeah.
We're not live like we used to be.
No. We might not even be. Come Wednesday.
Correct.
Who knows?
So it's actually the 17th, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Day,
yes,
and
it is.
also Betty White's 100th birthday. And as a result, so I hurt my leg a little bit. So I was like, I'm going to rest my leg a little bit before I get on the air and put it in a comfortable position and all that. And they're showing old Betty White game shows for like all day. And I got so wrapped up in a $25,000 pyramid from like 1983 that I was almost late to the show. So that's my life. That's what's going on with me.
Wow. Yeah, I have weird things going on, Ross. I think we've discussed on this program before how I just
you always have weird things going on.
Yeah. Like I can't leave my house. And this is not, I mean, also I have that anxiety thing that makes it difficult for me to leave my house. But oh my gosh, every single time I'm even visible on my property, someone's got to talk to me.
Really?
Yeah, I was out snowblowing today. I thought I was hidden by a shrub. No, I was not. And I'm not saying this neighbor wasn't perfectly nice. He wanted to talk about a tsunami. I'm like, that's great. Okay, so I guess I'll shut off the snowblower so that I can hear you. Do you understand I'm on a schedule, sir? No, he did not understand that I was on a schedule. It's fine.
Wait, a tsunami?
Yeah, I guess somewhere not in the U.S. there was a tsunami, and this guy wanted to talk about how we might get a foot of snow. It's a foot of snow that we had today because he had to let me know. I hope he doesn't listen to this. He's a very nice person. I don't think he listens to this. Then needed to talk about the tsunami and how we don't get those here. We just get the foot of snow.
Which there was a very significant and very impactful tsunami that impacted Tonga. So that is a thing.
It was, yes. That was very
It was also weird to make people stop what they're doing to.
Yeah. I mean, that was the darn thing because I was actively engaged in a process of taking care of my yard, and a loud process at that. And I was stopped from doing that. So I'm just standing there in the snow, hands on the snowblower, ready to go on a schedule. But then the other thing, so because all of my holidays were canceled, I finally had my Christmas celebration with my family on Saturday.
Okay.
So it was one of those things where I get real scheduled, right? So I was timing out when I was going to brush off the car versus when the muffins had to come out of the oven versus when I was going to go and put on some makeup to get ready to go. So I'm in the driveway, brushing off my car. And I think you know this about me. I don't always flex quickly when something is happening. So suddenly I hear a human voice calling out to me. I react by screaming, obviously.
Sure.
I don't know. I think he was saying like, excuse me or hello. I couldn't even tell you. I heard a human voice. I started screaming.
Yeah.
He says, sorry to startle you. I look and I see that there's a figure of a human being and I scream again.
Right.
Then I scream once more for good measure.
Sure.
because that's how you do. Uh, so once I've processed, like, okay, this is just a human being who has interrupted me while I was deep in thought and again actively engaged in a task. I don't know. I don't know that. So he starts telling me that he's 16. He just lost his mother either a couple months ago or a couple days. I heard both. He was hoping I could help him out by letting him do some shoveling. Didn't have a shovel. I'm just standing there with my snow brush. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I've got no money in my pockets or anything. If I'd had a couple bucks, I probably would have been like, here, please go away.
Right.
But I didn't have anything except a snow brush in my hands. And so I'm like stopped. And so I just keep saying like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I can't help you out today. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got to get back to this. Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry. You take care. Stay warm. So finally the kid does leave, but not after saying like, do you live here? Which I kind of looked at him. I was like, yeah. Because if I didn't live there, why would I be beyond the gate up by the garage brushing off a car?
Yeah.
Like, huh? So I thought, like, all right, well, that was different. I hope the kid, it was a cold day. I hope he got somewhere warm. But then I'm more disturbed today because and this is disturbing for a couple of things. I told you my life is just weird and mundane and also very silly. I woke up and I saw that there were notifications that my security cameras had been picking up things on my front porch. And turns out at 6:30 in the morning, this same kid is up on my porch, apparently ringing my doorbell, trying the screen door to open it, presumably so that he can bang real hard on like the main door.
Oh, Lord.
And then banging on the screen door. And it's alarming for so many reasons. 6 a.m. I was off work today. Excuse me, 6 a.m.
I feel like you have a lot of stories that are like legal issues and you're telling them to like a radio audience. I don't know. I feel like you have a lot of like
It's weird, right? Like, why? Why? Like, I feel like I don't look all that friendly, nor do I look that approachable. Why are these things happening?
I mean, so here's the nice thing about living in the suburbs, right? Is everybody in the suburbs is terrified. So everybody is watching everybody in the suburbs. So like in my neighborhood, nothing ever happens, but everybody's watching like Fox News all the time. And they're pretty sure that gangs of black people are going to come to their door and burn their houses down for whatever reason, just out of spite. Right. Like they would not even need any motive. They would just do it to be, this is what they learned from TV. So like nobody wants to interact with you at all because everybody's terrified. Like maybe the black people that are going to come. Like maybe you're going to tell them where they live. So, I mean, like if I go up and down my street, and I've mentioned this before, like I will say good morning.
Yes.
Again, I don't want to have a conversation. Dear God, please don't try to have a conversation with me.
What, you don't want to talk about the tsunami?
Right. But I will say good morning, and you will get people that will like run back in their house. And it's like I literally just said good morning. That was it. And I kept walking. Like I didn't stop. I waved, or like I gave a friendly smile, and was like good morning, just because I made eye contact, and the people will run back inside their house. So there is that small advantage to living in the suburbs, particularly if your neighbors think you might know black people because they want nothing to do with you.
Wow. Yeah. I apparently I must look like just the kind of person you want to talk to. I swear I cannot, like every time I'm visible outside my house, like someone's got to talk to me. I'm out mowing the lawn. I was out mowing the lawn with my new lawnmower. Some lady had to stop me again while I'm actively engaged in a task that makes noise. have a nice conversation about my lawnmower. A lot of people sometimes just want to like stop me from doing what I'm doing to ask me what I'm doing. I may be like digging some holes for some bulbs, and people need to stop and talk with me about how I'm digging some holes for some bulbs. And goodness knows, if I try to sit out on my front porch, forget it. Everybody wants to talk about how I'm sitting out on my front porch.
See, and okay, so I feel like if I had a front porch,
I don't sit on it. I don't sit on it anymore. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair game. Like if someone's like, because we get those in our neighborhood where people will have, so this is again a different side of this coin, but you will get people sitting on their front porch when they have backyards and back porches and all that and things. And then I'll do the thing where I'm walking by and I've made eye contact. So I wave in a friendly fashion just because it seems polite and I don't want to stop and talk. And they will like glare at me and scurry back in their house. And again, I feel like you're on your front porch. You're like, I don't know what the point of sitting on a front porch is for, if not to.
For me, sitting on my front porch
at least have some interaction with the humanity that's outside, even if it's not like a conversation, even if it's not like we're going to talk to each other, but it's we've at least seen each other. You're at least capable of seeing. It's not a two-way, that space between the slats is not a two-way mirror. It's not. I
wish it were. The times I've been out on the front porch have been at times when I've been either waiting for someone to come over and pick me up or waiting for someone to come over and we were going to hang out, but I just decided I would like wait and greet them when they arrived.
All right.
Which I mean, I guess I did in October. I hung out on my front porch for a short while. And that was fine. I was armed. I was ready to speak with people. But I don't know what to do about this kid. I think he's going to keep coming around. I think he's decided that I'm going to let him do odd jobs, but I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like the ringing of the doorbell and pounding on the door at 6 a.m. The other alarming thing about that is I slept through all of it. And according to the security cameras, he was quite insistent.
Yeah, that's a little alarming. I don't know. Again, nothing ever happens in my neighborhood, so I don't have experience with these things. But that sounds like more of an issue. And I'm not saying it's like a scary issue, but it sounds like maybe there's something not quite, there's possibly a mental health issue with this young man, or it sounds like that's not sort of a normal thing to do. I mean, unless there were a true emergency situation, in which case Heather is not the one to go to at 6 a.m.
No, not at all. And people do actually come around, especially during snow emergencies like this, but usually they've got their own shovels and stuff. And they're like, hey, $50 and we'll do your driveway.
I mean, was it do you think was it a snow day? Was this just...
That was the weird thing on Saturday when he asked if he could help by shoveling. There was like an inch of snow in the driveway.
Right.
There wasn't anything worth shoveling.
I mean, this is the other thing. If you're a, let's be charitable about the interpretation of this. I guess if I were to be, have a 16-year-old kid who's probably dumb anyway, just by virtue of being a 16-year-old kid, because I was certainly dumb at 16, and is like, thinking I'm gonna go around shoveling driveways, which is a thing that people think they want to do at 16. I did it for like 2 days, and then people would be like, here you go, here's $3. And I was like, I just spent 2 hours cleaning your driveway, so this is not the job for me. I am not that much of a hustler. So that was my experience with that. But, I mean, I could see being a dumb 16-year-old kid thinking I'm going to go around and ask people if I can shovel their driveway, and being a little over the top. Again, it's like when I think like, okay, that is really dumb to be pounding on someone's door at 6 a.m. and then wondering why they're not coming. But I also think, I don't know, I was really dumb when I was a 16-year-old kid. So I can also see making...
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe he was just like, well, of course, older people never sleep. She's obviously going to be up.
Right. Right. She's got to get up and go to her job at the old people farm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that may well have been it. I also like, yeah, I mean, it must have just been kind of like I don't know, maybe she'll let me do some work. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah.
But hopefully,
It never happens again.
That's the thing. Hopefully he's got the idea that like I'm not going to hire him to do some odd jobs.
Certainly not at 6 a.m.
Not at 6 a.m. My goodness. I'm not even going to wake up for that.
Right.
I was sound asleep.
Well, I hope he finds I hope he finds some old people with you know, a little more friendly than you that he can help out.
I know, right? I don't know. I've got to stop looking so approachable, apparently.
Yeah, no, you have the problem I have, which apparently is resting friendly face, because
I
always
say,
think
though,
like
I was out with my snowblower and I had a mask on to keep my face warm. So that neighbor had to speak to me. It's just like a look around the eyes.
It's in your eyes too.
Kind eyes.
Yeah, and I get it too. And I will be having like a miserable day and I will be angry at the world, which is not unheard of these days, where I'm just walking around angry about everything. I'm angry about something I saw on Twitter. I'm angry at my dogs. I'm angry at the person whose mask was slightly not quite up over their entire nose. I'm just like angry. You're like furious. Everything. I'm angry at there's like leaves and I'm angry about that. And then people will be like, oh, hey, how are you? Oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like, I feel like I could not be projecting. Okay. I don't know how I'm not projecting an aura of utter bile, but somehow.
So, all right. That must be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to work harder. But it's just cute when you try to look mean too. So that's probably not going to help. There's probably no hope for you.
Yeah. I don't know. Because that was the other thing Saturday. Like when he came up, I was not in the greatest mood because it was so cold. Oh, it's just terrible. And I was just trying to brush off my car as quickly as I could. Again, interrupted in the middle of a task that I'm in the act of performing. Like, here, kid, I'll give you $1 to finish brushing off my car. What? Anyhow, so that's what's going on. I've got to go and do some more snow blowing after here, and I'm becoming concerned about what further adventures I will have the minute I step foot outside my house.
See, and here's the other thing. So here's my other trick. So living in the suburbs, which is not, again, that's a very mixed picture I've painted of living in the suburbs, as you can imagine. So that's one thing, but that's a very, that can go either way. The other thing you can do is you can have a more consistently outgoing husband to throw at things. So like when the door rings, I'm like, oh no, I'm in the bathroom that I just ran into. So you'll have to get it. So get you a man, I guess, is advice number 2. All
right. Well, I'll see what I can do about that. I don't know. I'm certainly not sending Nigel to the door.
You could. I mean, I don't think they'd come back.
Well, the other thing is he doesn't have opposable thumbs, so I could send him to the door as much as I wanted, but he wouldn't be able to open it.
Hey, that works too. As long as you just need somebody to throw at the problem.
I don't open the door, to be honest with you.
Well, that's, then good.
Especially not at 6 in the morning.
No, absolutely not.
Though now I do wonder, what if there was some kind of emergency? I did not wake up. I didn't know that this happened until I checked my cameras, and then I was like, Oh, yes, he was apparently pounding on the door. I can hear it from the microphone on the camera.
It's interesting, but yeah, I would not expect to be able to wake you up at 6 in the morning. So I don't know. This is, I think, a thing you might just have to accept about yourself and just hope that it doesn't become an issue.
Yeah, I don't wake up all that. I don't wake up for a lot of stuff. So
yeah, I don't think it's anything that's going to change. So there's sort of no point in worrying about it. It's like if you had a chronic condition, you're like, oh, that sort of sucks, but I'm just going to have to hope that doesn't become an issue someday.
All right. So. Yeah. So it'll just be me. I'll just be sleeping. I don't know. Are you playing that Wordle game, Ross?
That was my hot pick for today, Heather. You just stepped on my hot pick.
What? Don't you? Wait, we got to do it then.
Hot pig. I'm not going to remember to play it, so we're just going to sing it live. We're going to perform it live.
Do.
Get your guitar. I want the soft. Hot pigs. Hot pigs. Hot pigs. Yeah. Am I playing Wordle?
Tell me about your hot pick, which is apparently also my hot pick.
Yeah, so so you know how I'm angry about everything?
Yeah.
We've just established.
Indeed. But your eyes look so friendly.
I know. I know, just shooting daggers, but
but they're so soft.
Yeah. I discovered, and another thing that makes me angry too is unreasonably angry sometimes is trends.
Yeah.
Like things that even hypothetically I would like, where I'm just like, well, that's a thing that other people are into and I'm mad about it now. Just even like, and I'm not somebody who's going to go tell them that, because that's
good.
The other thing I get mad about is when people try to stomp on people's good time. Yes. I like to stomp on people's good time in my head.
Yes, just for your own personal benefit.
Right. Because it's better to keep that all inside, I think.
Right.
I think
yes.
That's what they
bury
say.
it. Bury it deep. Hold it in.
Deep down. Bury it down.
Tamp it.
Put a slice of cheese on top, and just that'll do it.
Yeah. Just put the cheese right on it. You got it.
No, but I feel like I got in on the ground floor of Wordle just because I was like, well, this tied in with my whole I'm going to do crosswords things now, which is this is all very fascinating things that people should know about us. But if you're listening and taking notes from 2 weeks ago, you will recall.
Yes.
Open up your notes from the previous show and you'll discover that I was talking about playing crossword puzzles now.
Indeed you were. I was talking about you playing crossword puzzles at my Christmas family gathering.
For you? That must have been fascinating for those people as well.
It was, because my whole family, like, we have our dalliances with puzzles, and my mom loves crosswords. Like,
okay,
we don't even know what to get for her anymore, because she's got like tons of clothes. There's not really like a luxury food item she enjoys. It's hard to know what to get her. So she gets a lot of crossword puzzle books for every holiday. She loves them. She like doesn't stop with them. So yeah, they were really psyched, because I was saying how, you started with the Saturday Stumper and you were thinking like, whoa, these are impossible. But then you got the Monday one and you were like, oh no, I'm fine. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, yes, the Saturday Stumper. So it was indeed fascinating.
I feel like, just for an update on this, for everybody who was listening from 2 weeks ago and for Heather's family, I feel like Tuesday is my sweet spot right now.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'd like to continue to advance. Anyway, so so people on Twitter started posting these weird little things with boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And it would say Wordle. And my immediate reaction, of course, as it should be, was, ugh, what the hell is this? Who cares? Why are you people doing this? Why is there a new thing? I'm over it. And I don't want any part of this new thing. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Quit it. Dumb new thing.
God, people. What is wrong with you? But then I was sort of like, what if it comes up in a conversation and all the cool people know? So this is the flip side where I go, well, I don't want to be out of this conversation.
Yeah.
I want to be in the conversation so I can hate it with a more from a place of information.
Yes. With a fuller understanding.
Right. From an informed place. And then I was like, so then I learned what it was. And then I did the one, because you just go to the website and you do it. And I was like, that's pretty fun. I'm into Wordle. So that's my story about how I got into Wordle. It's not a great story.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, my story is similar. I think what happened to really get me into it was I saw a post that, like, a friend posted on Facebook something like, I'm mad that I didn't know about Wordle sooner. I'm even madder that you can only do it once a day.
Okay.
And somebody went and posted on their post a link to where you can do as many Wordles as you want.
Oh no, I don't want that. Here's the thing. This is the thing with Wordle. This is what I like about Wordle.
That's what they say. The beauty of it is once.
I can't get obsessed about it, because you do it and it's done. I don't need something I'm going to sit over and obsess about and do 20 of. No, no, sir. Do not send me that link.
Okay, I won't. I won't. Anybody out there, if they'd like the link, I'll be glad to send it. Just drop me a line at
Don't. It's something beautiful that you're trying to ruin.
Mm-mm.
It's
no,
not.
because you know me. I don't have much in my life besides worrying about who's creeping around on my property.
There are all sorts of word games that you can
Wordle.
do. There are all sorts of word games that you can do and apps and all sorts of things that you can do all day long. Just let this be the one that people do once and then they move on with their lives.
Not me. Not me. All or nothing. All Wordle all the time.
Ugh, it's not good.
I like
Plus,
it.
there are only so many words. I feel like
that's what I'm getting.
I feel like once a day is plenty for a 6-letter word.
I think I'm doing 5-letter words.
Or 5-letter word. I don't know. I can't. It's not a math game, Heather. I'm not.
Well, no,
I'm good at words. I'm not good at math.
I learned that you can adjust it, though. You can do more or fewer words, letters.
I want to do normal Wordle.
I'm going to mess around with it.
Customized.
I'm going to customize mine. I'm going to hack Wordle.
I also don't know if you have, because they've been taking down like illegal versions of Wordle. So I also don't know, like, I don't know.
I'll have to see if mine isn't working anymore. I haven't played today.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, because I don't know if in official Wordle you can change the number of letters.
I don't know.
I think you might be playing illegal Wordle.
I might. Ooh, that's even better. You know how I love being criminal. Crime.
Anyway, well,
I like it.
Now you've ruined it and I don't want to do it anymore.
You do. You just want to do it your way and I'm going to do it my way. I think we're allowed to do
but
that.
Don't do it your way. I'm telling you, people, listen.
I'm gonna. Don't be like me. Oh my God. I'm allowed to be like me. Anybody else out there, don't be like me with the kind eyes and the approachable face and the terrible disdain for humanity.
Yeah. Don't do it. No, but it's fun though, right? Like, it seems very, and I've seen a couple people, like people post their little things with the little boxes to Twitter.
Yes.
And normally that's the kind of thing that annoys me, but I'm like, you know what? Social media is so annoying.
Yeah.
And this seems so wholesome and friendly and harmless, except for Heather, who's there sweating and finding illegal hacks from overseas where she can play Wordle with 18 letters all day long and into the night. But
That's
in
what
general,
I like. That's what I like.
It seems very wholesome.
Yes. Compared to so much that goes on, especially on Twitter.
Yeah.
People going, look, I did a good job at my fun word game.
Right. I'm like,
wow.
Show me your Wordle. I want to see it. Post it.
Yeah.
Do it. Show me your dumb little boxes. I'm not going to look at it. And that's the thing too. Like, it's not like, when people post their Wordle. So if you don't know what this is, I don't know if you're on Twitter at all, ever, you'll see the thing with the green and yellow boxes.
Yeah.
But you don't really like look, people post things and I will like people's Wordle just to be like, look, I'm supporting this because this is good. You don't really look. I mean, nobody is looking at your Wordle going.
I never click their thing and go like, wow.
Right.
They went from adept to Peter. Whoa. Like,
you know what though? Here's a thing. If you're new to this, if you're thinking of getting into this, here's a thing not to do. Let me tell you the thing that ruins it, and I think would make people angry at you and ruin the wholesome Wordle thing is. I've seen people who who thought they were posting it like everybody else posts it with the little green boxes and actually just posted like a screenshot of them having finished it. Remember, there's one word a day, unless you're Heather, there's one word a day that everybody gets and everybody gets the same word. So if you post that, it's really mean.
I saw someone else on my social media feed who was apologizing for having done that. They didn't know that.
Right. And you wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, and they felt bad and like the whole thing. I even only saw the apology because it was like, here's a picture of me to make up for how I posted my Wordle earlier. I'm really, really sorry. I hope I didn't screw everything up for everyone. I didn't know I shouldn't do that. It was a very heartfelt apology because I guess like the person must have gotten an awful lot of like, hey, you just ruined my fun thing for the day.
Yeah, and I do it like first thing, so it's fine. You're probably not going to spoil me, but I saw that, and maybe we saw the same person because we do have a lot of the same friends. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, and I didn't say anything just because I don't want to be like, I don't want to be the jerk that's like, hey, you're doing Wordle wrong. But I was like, ooh, you should not do that because it's the
No,
same. So this is the thing. So if you're trying, remember, everybody on the planet, except for Heather,
except for me.
gets the same word in a 24-hour period. So if you post the word, you've just you've just ruined Wordle for 6 billion people.
Yes. Everybody who's seen it.
Right.
Well, all right. So I will do the official Wordle. I'm also going to still keep doing my hack ones, though.
Yeah, I just, if you wind up in federal Wordle prison, I'm not bailing you out.
At least I'll know a lot of letters I can put in a lot of different orders.
Is that a euphemism?
Maybe? I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
No clue.
I bet there's cigarettes at the end. I don't know.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Sure. I don't know if it's currency. Heather.
So yeah, tell me about the things.
Oh, was that your only hot pick?
That was my only hot pick. That was your
right.
hot pick. That was just me talking about a thing I've been doing. Turned out it was your hot pick, though.
Let's talk about this. This amused and interested me. So there's been a lot of talk lately, and I think we've even talked on the show about the well, there are a couple levels to this, but the sort of way the job economy has changed and shifted a little bit to where people talk about there being a little more of a job seekers market at this time because there's a little more of a need for people, and how and the flip side of that of businesses being like, well, I guess people are lazy and don't want to work anymore because they won't take my $3 to work 24 hours a day and get COVID.
Yeah.
Like my mom, every single conversation, she works into the conversation about how like she would go buy some, she would buy like Rando's pizza and they had cut back their hours on a Sunday evening, and she's like, well, it's just because nobody wants to work anymore. It's pure laziness, so you get a lot of that.
Okay, sure.
But, but on in the broader scale, there's, we've definitely seen and for not great reasons in a lot of ways. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's because people, American workers have gotten sick or they've not, I mean, they're the reasons why it's become a little more, workers have gained a little more power in the economy is not, they're not all great reasons, but, in another sense, it's nice to see that for once that people are recognizing that they have a little more leverage. So I've seen multiple articles. This was from the New York Post, but I saw several articles along these lines, and I really wanted to bring this up because it sort of tickles me in a sort of bitter, angry way. This is so this particular article, again, I looked at a few different places that were talking about this, but this is from the New York Post, and it was from an article by Maridel Reyes titled, "In a job seekers market, more candidates are now ghosting." So there's all this talk in job forums on LinkedIn among human resources professionals who I'll throw out at the beginning. This is going to sound like I think are all terrible human beings. That is not the case. I do not think that all human resources representatives, some of my best friends are human resources representatives.
Absolutely.
So they're not all terrible people. Not all HR reps. Okay. But so, and I don't even know that I need to go into the details with this. Basically, it's a list of, it's interviews with individual human resources representatives and then talking about sort of the broader conversation among human resources representatives. Let me see if I can hit a couple highlights here, but I think you get the idea. What human resources representatives are finding is that they're scheduling interviews with people. People are not showing up. They are, arranging things with people and they're just not hearing back from them. So, one editorial director at a media company, this is quoting from the article, one editorial director at a media company recalls a face-to-face interview that she thought went well. She followed up by sending a test to the candidate to be considered for the job. The deadline came and went without a word from the applicant. Confused, she wrote to them a day later asking if they were still interested. I never heard from them, she says. But it was a good thing because it made me realize that the person was not the type of candidate we'd want working for our team. Reliability is key, and you don't want to spend time training someone only for them to quit on you, et cetera, et cetera. the article goes on to talk about some of the improvements in the economy in the country. Again, the shortage of workers. Some of it is, again, there are good and bad reasons. Some of it is that people are in better people are in some people are just in better positions financially where they don't need to get a they don't need to, they're not desperate to get the minimum wage work that they might have been in the past. And I have lost you.
Oh no, where have I gone? Am I back?
Oh, you're there. Okay, you're sorry,
Yeah,
your
my
video's not
camera
moving.
is frozen. I don't understand why my camera is frozen.
Okay, no problem. I'll just keep going then.
Yeah.
This this
I
only
was just so
fascinates
quiet.
this only fascinates me and sort of tickles me because I will say so. I think you would back this up if I said this. Like, I've got a reasonably good educational background.
Mhm.
I've got a reasonably good, a reasonably good resume. I think for some jobs I have a pretty great resume.
Yeah.
And I'm also not someone who, I respect people who sort of shoot for the moon, but I'm not that kind of person. So I tend to apply to jobs that I think I could get and am qualified for, right? And I also understand that there are a lot of reasons why, you don't get hired for a job. It
Mhm.
can be all sorts of things. So I don't, I tend not to take that kind of thing personally. But I would say, so all that being said, I would say in probably 75% of the jobs that I've applied for where I've gotten to an interview, right? Like way
Mhm.
higher than this if I'm just applying for a job. And again, I understand to a point. I understand, like, if you're getting a billion completely non appropriate applications for a job, maybe you don't reply to everybody. I think you
Mhm.
probably still should, even if it's just an automatic response, which is not hard to do, but I get it. Again, I'm applying for jobs that I would say I'm fairly well qualified for.
Yeah.
So I would say putting aside the, like, you apply for a job and you just never ever hear back. That's not great either, but okay, I'll cut a little more slack for that, I guess. Of the jobs where I've gotten to like an interview, I would
Uh-huh.
say 70% I will just never hear back again. Of the jobs that I haven't got, that I guess I'm carving a narrow window here, but like, I've applied for the job, I've gotten an interview, I've
Mhm.
gone to the interview. Obviously, they're not hiring me. Um, Probably 60-70% of the time, I just never hear back.
Right. Yeah, and I'm in a really fortunate position of coming up on 20 years in the same job with the same company.
Mm-hmm.
Um so I kind of have to cast back, and again I know I'm very lucky for that and I'm very grateful as well. Uh I have to cast back in my memory, but I definitely remember sending out resumes, applications, cover letters, just barrages of them, just like flotillas of them. And this was, of
Mm-hmm.
course, back in the day where, I think I had a word processor.
Right, right.
And so it would all print out like clackety, 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 clack. And, crafting cover letters to go with everything and printing it all on beautiful, creamy stationery because that mattered.
That paper was
And it
expensive.
costed a lot of money.
Yeah. And they
And
would tell
just
you, like, they are never going to look at your resume if it's on cheap paper.
that is absolutely exactly what they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
They being anyone,
Yeah.
like anyone to whom you spoke. I I sent out so many, and then again back in the day you had to go around to stores and fill out this long, long application,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just hand it in. You'd never hear a peep. Um the last time I interviewed for a job, I definitely recall getting an email,
Okay.
thanking me for my time and stuff.
See, and I've had a bunch because I'm sort of in and out of different things. I guess my career has been weird that way. But like the things I'm in and out of are pretty interesting. I mean, it's not like they're higher level. I mean, I don't want to, put jobs on levels because I think all anybody's career and path is valuable, but they're apropos to the things I'm applying for. And
Uh-huh.
usually usually just being a little bit insecure about myself, I don't apply to a thing unless I'm a little bit overqualified. So I mean, I've run into this so many times where like, I mean, just recently, just within the past year, I think I applied for something where I had 2 interviews, and I think they went fine. I mean, I didn't fart my way through them. I didn't,
Uh-huh.
maybe I didn't. Obviously, I didn't make the best. Obviously, I didn't make enough of an impression on the people there, but I didn't blow them objectively. I mean, I did
Uh-huh.
fine, and just never ever heard back. Just never heard a thing,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So when and seeing responses to these articles is like
Uh-huh.
everybody kind of saying the same thing. Um,
And so
you
they're
know,
all like, "Oh my goodness, how dare they?"
Yeah, and it's not like I will agree in the abstract, like don't do that. Don't return. I mean, you never know if you're a job hunter, you just on a practical level, you never know who you're gonna, you never know who you're gonna want in your corner or whatever. And it's, I don't, I'm not a big fan of returning bad behavior with bad behavior. However, I think it's a little rich in a
You're
lot of this
right.
stuff. It's a little rich that people are like, how can people do this? I don't understand.
It's true. You're absolutely right. I guess I would say, also, I'm old. I'm also of the school where you needed to write a handwritten thank you note and
Right.
mail it to the people who interviewed you. And email did exist then, but it was seen as bad form.
It was
If you
tacky.
just
Yeah.
followed up via email, that seemed like you weren't truly invested. It did. And again, it had to be a very nice card because the quality of your paper mattered.
Oh my gosh, remember that? That was like a whole thing. And they're like, you are not going anywhere if you're not spending obscene amounts of money on weird paper.
How much of this whole thing was just ginned right up by big stationery?
Like big paper.
I'm gonna go ahead and say even more precisely big stationery, because
Yeah.
really it was like you couldn't just use paper, you couldn't use printer paper. It had to be like wedding invitation paper.
Yeah, yeah. It was literally as though you were. Yeah, you're exactly right. It was literally as if you were inviting people to a wedding. I mean, in terms of the
Yes.
quality of what you were supposed to present, it
Right.
was like, oh, your resume isn't embossed.
I know, I know. Oh, you didn't do calligraphy. Well,
Yeah. Hmm.
interesting.
Interesting. How
Yeah.
much do you care about this
Um
job then?
But I guess these days now, if I did accept another position and I kept getting like, hey, we would love to have you on our team, just for the point that you made about you never know who you're going to want in your corner.
Right.
I think personally, just to sow the seeds of connections for the future, I think if it were me, it maybe it's also that I was like raised in a different time when it was like, no, 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 you send the thank you note. I think I'd still send the like, thank you. I've accepted a position at X or whatever, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time and, something like that. Kind of to ingratiate myself a little bit, make a good impression. And also, I'm sure it's just like something that's so ingrained in me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of the right thing to do to just in general. I mean, even if I'm even if I have concerns about the level of professionalism of some of the people who are complaining about
I
this,
know.
it's sort of the right thing to do. Like if you make an appointment with someone, or if you make an arrangement to do something for someone, or if you make an arrangement to meet at a certain time, it's kind of the right thing to do, just to be like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make that.
Uh huh.
Sorry. you know so it's not the kind of thing, I am unlikely to ghost people. If I were an HR representative, I would also be extremely unlikely to ghost people, who had taken the time to apply for a job. And again, I understand, like, now you can go online, you can apply for a billion jobs, so it's harder to, it's, if you're not even interested in interviewing someone,
Right.
I understand that that can be a volume issue.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think you could still do automated responses very easily, just to let people know, like, hey, we've looked at your thing and we're not interested, thank you. That's not hard to do either. But if you're, if you're having any point of contact with someone
Yeah.
and then not bothering to, not bothering to thank them, not bothering to let them know what you've decided,
Right.
not bothering to follow up at all. That's very common.
It's so common and it's not very nice.
It's not very nice. And the whole, I sort of laugh at the whole thing about like, well, that just tells me what kind of, because I've always said this too. When I've had these experiences, I'm like, well, you know what? Good. Then that tells me what kind of company this is.
Yeah.
so, and that's what I've always, that's sort of been my philosophy of like, oh, well, I didn't, maybe I wanted that job and it stinks, but maybe it's for the best, because if they're a company that's going to interview you once, twice, and then you're never going to hear back, or you're going to have to badger them to find out, a month
Mhm.
later if they've made any decision, and find out like, oh, they just never bothered to tell you, then that tells you about the company too.
Yeah.
So it's, again, it's sort of, it's interesting to see these shoes on the other foot all of a sudden.
It is. It absolutely is. It's kind of funny, I guess. I mean, the people who hire are sometimes the people who have all the power,
Right.
especially, I know often when I've been applying for a job, I've either really, really, really needed or really, really wanted or both that
Sure.
job.
Sure.
And so what they decide about me is actually going to make or break what I need in my life.
Yeah.
And I guess it must be interesting if you're used to having that extreme level of power to all of a sudden, well, I offered them the job and they never even wrote me back.
Right.
Like, it's got to be a bit jarring.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I hope this is a learning. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we don't learn anything
No,
anymore. And
no,
again,
we don't.
when people are, when I'm trying to, when I'm trying to explain to my dear sweet mother about all the economic things that are going on, including a lot of, um, you know, when you're complaining about like fast food places that are having a hard time finding work, and it's like, well, and it's just because people are lazy. I'm like trying to explain all the economic things going on, including,
Hmm.
these are some of the industries where people have been hardest hit by this pandemic that's going on. Wages have not gone up, so the fact that people don't want to do those jobs and or feel like they can do better, so there's an indoctrination too of what people think they can negotiate for their salary. No, you just
Yes.
take what the business tells you.
Yes.
And it's not businesses fighting for that. It's people who are in that position of having to beg for money from from businesses who are like, well, how dare they ask for more money, or how dare they, try to negotiate a better deal.
Yeah. Yep. And again, that's like the old school stuff that I learned. They would state a number and sometimes they'd say things like, well, we can't pay you what you were making at your last job. This is what we can
Mhm.
offer you. And like you just either didn't take that job or you just took it.
But at that point, you'd spend $100 on stationery.
I know, right?
So you've got to get that money back somehow.
Yeah, and don't even tell me about the stamps. My gosh.
Right.
They were cheaper back then, but the volume we had to use.
Well, and you couldn't fold it. Remember, you had to send it because the paper was so fancy. You couldn't, I don't think the paper would even fold because it was some sort of metal plate. You had to, but yeah, you didn't fold it. You put it in, you put it in a, one of the 8x10 envelopes or whatever.
Well, now
So,
that is why I didn't get so many of those jobs because I folded them
oh my
and
God.
I
No,
put them in equally expensive, creamy parchment envelopes.
no. See, because if you fold it in an envelope, then it makes it too small. This is the stuff I'm remembering the stuff I learned that
Wow,
seems
no
so
one told
ridiculous
me
now.
you had to mail them flat. I thought you were supposed to get the rich, creamy parchment envelope.
No, because if you mail them flat, it's like a cereal box. If you mail it, it's flat, but it takes up a lot of shelf space. If you mail it flat, then it makes your resume more prominent and visible. in the
I'll be
mail.
darned. No one ever passed along that wisdom to me. Now, in the flat envelope, was this also made out of rich and creamy parchment?
Oh, of course.
Okay. I bet those must have cost a fortune.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Remember how poor we were, and yet we were out buying the finest,
The finest paper
vellum
in the world.
stationery just so we could go to Kinko's and print out a resume.
Oh, yeah, no. I absolutely do remember having like absolutely no money, like to the point that if I could get a bag of lentils for 99 cents, that was perfect because that meant I could eat soup for a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was spending like $20 on a box of envelopes. Because otherwise, they're never going to look at it.
Right. Otherwise, you are
then-
not serious about this.
Do you remember the days of like, I think it was monster.com, where you had to retype everything?
Oh, yeah.
That was
I think you
terrible.
still do. Yeah.
Is
still have
Monster
to do
still
that.
a thing?
Yeah, Monster's still a thing.
You can't copy paste?
They do weird. So there's a lot of weird stuff with job. Like what'll happen, and this is very common, is like you'll apply through one thing and they'll make you do all your stuff, and it'll be like, oh, upload your resume. So you'll upload your resume, and then it's like, well, we can't read this.
Yes.
So you have to put it, you have to copy and paste it in all the boxes on the thing, but then the boxes don't match up with the format. The boxes never match up with the format you have on your resume.
Yeah.
And then the company will have its own system. So you've started with a resume, and then you've put it into like monster.com to apply for the job. And then they're like, oh, you have to go to their company website. And now you have to do it there too. And it's a whole different thing. So,
wow.
I mean, I guess you don't have to type it. You can copy and paste, but the formats never match up. So it'll be like, one thing it'll want it, it'll want your job in one format and then another. So you wind up retyping everything anyway. So that's why I gave up.
That is tough. The last thing I remember like that is I was a reference for someone for a job for which they were quite qualified. But the hoops I had to jump through just to say like, yeah, this person is my friend and I've worked with them a whole lot. They were even my trainer for a while. They're awesome. It was so many layers of just going through this company website. And I was like, my goodness, I'd almost rather you just call me.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
Well, you know what else is wild, Heather?
Is it that show, Music Matters, on WAYO-LP Rochester that's coming up right after The Sound of Tomorrow?
Let's go listen to that.
Sounds great, because I'm telling you, it is wild. Thanks for tuning in, Space Cadets, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hold on. Hold on. I lost my page. All right.
So I think I was able to stave off the nuclear meltdown that you told me about.
What nuclear meltdown?
Yay, it worked. Okay, tell me more about 2021. Maybe there are other disasters I can avert by knowing the future.
Oh, okay. There was Space Jam 2.
Sounds horrible, but let's try for an even bigger disaster.
Okay. Last week's Sound of Tomorrow was a pretty giant stink bomb.
No problem. I will make sure that we do a rerun.
Okay, that's it then. Everything else in 2022 is pretty much peachy.
I love it.
I mean, except for the COVID and the racism,
racism,
environmental collapse, but
tsunami,
tsunami,
people on my property.
Everything else though, it's fine. It's gonna be great. We're all gonna be fine, everybody.